This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome to the Mark Kapetan Show. This is attorney Mark Kapetan, your host. Today's show is brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We've been serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, give us a call at 559-498-8000. Or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call us at the Kapetan Brothers Monday through Friday, weekends too if you want to, 559-498-8000, Kapetan Brothers. We are the Valley's law firm. Hey folks, this is a special day for me because my, God, do I start off right, Niko, with saying you're my nephew?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. My nephew, I think we're technically second cousins, quite honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. But I've always been Theo Mark to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cousins would be crazy.
Yeah, cousins with, yeah, okay, exactly. All right, my nephew Niko. Now, there's a whole purpose behind this. Is here in the studio with me, Niko Kapetan. There's two of them. Well, there's many of them, but there's two nephews I have. This is what we call the Chicago Niko. He's a musician and a recording artist who has just been signed as of about 9 months ago to ATO Records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that stand for anything, Niko?
It does, and I forgot what it stands for.
And he's a great representative of ATO Records, but he is a recording artist with ATO Records, which is one of the largest indie labels that there is out there. He's on his first national tour. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. When he was you started playing music about how old?
Maybe when I started playing drums in 5th grade. So that was probably like 10 or 9.
Yeah, you were originally a drummer. So my nephew in Chicago, he starts playing drums. And he sends me a little song that he did on a 2-track with some of his friends. And I said, where did you do this? What studio did you... No, I said, oh, that sounds great. And I had a bunch of leftover equipment laying around my studios here in Fresno. And so I send you out a bunch, and I'm still doing my intro, folks. I sent him out a bunch of used audio equipment that I had laying around. He calls me back about 6 months, maybe 9 months later, and he goes, Theo Mark, would you like to listen to my album? I want to send you the songs. And I go, album? What are you talking about? And he sends me this album. And to make it the long story short, he produced an album using this used equipment called Burnout Beautiful. I want you to go check it out on Spotify, Apple. Buy the album if you could help, support him. Buy the album. And he calls me up and I said, where did you do this at? What studio did you do it at? And he goes, I don't understand what you mean, Mark. And I said, what studio did you do this at? And he said, oh no, I did this in my basement, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, folks. Burnout Beautiful by Friko. He is the new band name is Friko, Friko, and I've been telling you guys about it. I want you to check it out. All right, so welcome to the Mark Kapetan Show. Niko Kapetan from Friko. Welcome, Niko.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
All right, I've talked enough. How's the tour going? Where have you guys been going to? Tell me about it.
It's been good. We were in the Midwest. We're in Iowa and Nebraska and Atlanta, that kind of area of the country for a week, and then we drove to Denver and then all the way to the West Coast, and we've just been circling around, going north and then south again and through the desert. It's been nice, but... And
there's just 3 of you in a van together, right?
Yeah, running merch and doing everything ourselves. It's been fun.
That's the essence of you hear about all those rock bands in the 50s and stuff, just getting in a car and driving around the United States. How many cities so far, you think?
We've only done, I think we've done 20 on this run so far, and then we're ending tomorrow in LA, but yeah, we're doing it all again in the fall. So yeah. And
the crowds?
It's been fun. Yeah, it's been great. It's been cool to actually have people at the shows that know us already and know the songs that aren't just in Chicago, where we kind of have our base where people actually really know us.
As a artist, now you have a new album, Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here, right? Mm-hmm. Out on ATO Records. Again, folks, check it out. Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here. As an artist, does that shock you and thrill you that you're in some unknown little city in Nebraska or something like that, and all of a sudden they're singing along? I'm assuming they're singing along to some of your songs, right?
Some of the cities, it depends. That was in Lincoln, and that was a fun show. That was at a festival, but yeah, no, it's always cool. But it feels like fun work, but it's very like, it's not lavish right now. We're like constantly, we're all driving, we're all doing the equal driving, we're all doing the equal merch, setting up, taking down. So
yeah, I saw your tour van. It's not lavish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works. But what did you tell everybody what you did?
I was gonna fill up the wiper fluid, and I went inside and forgot that I'd opened it, and they didn't have wiper fluid inside, so I forgot to close it, and then
the hood.
It flew up when we were driving on the highway. Yeah.
So like one of those movies where the hood flies up in the windshield. So so if you see a white van with a bent
straps.
up straps and a bent up hood, that's Friko.
Yeah.
Hence the name, right?
Yeah.
Friko. Who decided that, by the way?
That was, when I started doing solo shows that was when I was like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I just went under that because that was like a nickname that some friends called me in high school.
Oh,
and then it slowly became a band thing, and then now it's very much a band.
Yeah.
But having the name that rhymes with it can make it hard to explain that sometimes.
You're Niko from Friko. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, I get it. You and Bailey, right? Bailey Menzen. How do you say Menzenberger?
Menzenberger.
Bailey Menzenberger. By the way, folks, so there's this duo of Niko and Bailey Menzenberger that Bailey is the drummer in the band, took over sort of like a role that you used to serve. You were originally the drummer in the band, right?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Is that difficult to have someone take over your role like that?
No, not at all. Because, Bailey's, for one, way better than I am and has their own style. But, I'm just, I love songwriting, and so does Bailey, too, actually. But once I got into songwriting, I was like, I don't need to play too much drums anymore.
Yeah, you said Bailey's a great drummer. So no. Bailey's, I love her. I think she's great,
Amazing.
as a drummer. She's amazing. But it's also, when you see her back there, and even on the videos, she's so chill. She just has this attitude, that I just dig, But what I meant by that is not better or worse or anything like that. Are there times when you sit there and you go, well, geez, that's not how I would have done it? Or have you gotten to that point in music, and it took me many years to sit there and say, that may not be how I've done it, but I'm willing to let go of that?
I think that did take a while, just when I was doing everything on my own for a while. But then as it became more of a band and we understand each other and working together, Bailey has, her own ideas that are just oftentimes they're a better idea, because it's I don't know the drums that well anymore, and it's it made the music more interesting. And I think that's why this album caught on so much more, is because it's more of a community effort.
It was a collaboration.
It was very much collaboration.
And I have to explain that too, because on the Burned Out Beautiful albums and stuff like that, and a lot of the songs that you had done before, you were the drummer, the bass player, and the guitar player on much of it, right? Or if not all of it?
Yeah, pretty much all of it for that early stuff.
Which kills me, because I would always ask you about that, and you would always shy away and say, "Oh no, we have a band," but from beginning to end, it's the most. And we're going to talk about the recording process after this, but from beginning to end, it was you, and it's exciting to see that you're now collaborating and making even greater music too. So we'll be right back with Niko Kapetan, Niko from Friko. Right after this. This is the Mark Kapetan Show on KMJ. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Mark Kapetan Show. Brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm, serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident, give us a call at 559-498-8000. You are listening to Crashing Through by Friko. In the studio with me today, is my nephew, Niko Kapetan. It sounds weird. I'm sorry, and I hope it's not embarrassing for you. My lovely, wonderful nephew, Niko Kapetan, Chicago Niko Kapetan, for all of those who know my New York Niko Kapetan nephew. He's in a band called Friko. All right, Niko, we were talking about Friko and the recording process and Bailey, your drummer, etc. In the studio, is being in the studio a stressful situation for you, or because I know you're a creative kid, adult, what am I saying? Is it something that you sort of need to do, writing songs, creating the songs, recording them, etc., as far as a release for you? What's it mean to you as far as that's concerned?
I mean, recording the songs is definitely, for this, I'll start with the context of like what we did recently. We have a cover coming on in a couple of days, and that process was pretty smooth, and like we went into it basically knowing what we wanted. I knew what I wanted. We went in, we did it. It felt amazing. This record, we went into it not knowing exactly what we wanted and not knowing exactly who exactly we were as a band yet. And as we made it, we kind of figured that out, which led to a lot of like intense emotional moments. The biggest one is the first song, Where We've Been. When we were recording it, it was one rotation shorter at the end. And we were recording in the studio, and we did it a few times. It didn't feel right. And our friend who was also helping produce the record, Scott Talarita, was like, the song's not done. And we're like, what does that mean? We're literally recording in the studio right now. A lot of producers wouldn't say that, but I've known Scott for a long time, and so he's not afraid to say that. And so we were like, okay, well, let's just sit down and talk about it. It was already really emotional. We were all on just like really tired at the end of the night of recording, and we talked about it, and Bailey was like, all right, I'll just go to a straight ahead groove, and I was like, I'll just start screaming stuff, and then we did that, and then we were all sobbing at the end, and it was just like the most intense emotional thing I've had in music. You know, my brother Peter made fun because of me a couple shows ago, because I was talking about an artist that I saw on David Letterman back in the 1990s, and I said I was almost in tears from listening to her because I realized that she was going to be forever famous. And you have that moment. There's something weird about the connection between recording songs or taking something that is your baby that no one's ever heard before. It's only a set of notes and a series of notes inside your brain, and having it come to fruition like that really affects you emotionally, and me emotionally too, and a lot of musicians, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, seeing it actually come to fruition is like crazy, especially when like the recording of it is the first time that we actually played the song like that with that form, you know? So it was like, it added to it even more so.
And what's interesting about it in the studio process and creating songs is sometimes it does come as a surprise to you, and it isn't exactly what you had in mind, but when it comes out and the whole band hits it or kills it, as they say, it's just it emotionally overwhelms you.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like it was far from perfect, but there was, I don't know, it's just like magic. It was one of the one or two times where it's like it actually felt like there was something magic. Like I think of music as magic, but like there's a few times where you like actually do it and you're like, that truly felt like something outside of ourselves.
You say about it was far from perfect. See, I love that. I love things that are not perfect. I love in the recording process. Let me ask you this. I love leaving a mistake in if someone makes a mistake. Will you leave your own mistakes in?
There's plenty of mistakes on this record. Right. If you really dig in, there's a lot. Yeah.
Do you struggle to not fix those?
I did, but by the time we got to the middle of the record, we realized that was the thing, and that was the charming part, because it was kind of like our live shows. Our live shows are very scrappy, and so it's fun to leave it that way.
You know, as you were talking about this incident in the studio and the emotion that came out, it reminds me of a video that I saw, and I can't remember what song it is. It's this continuous video of you guys placing objects on a table.
Oh, that's Crimson to Chrome. Yeah.
Crimson to Chrome.
Yeah.
Okay. In Crimson to Chrome, if you want to know the excitement of being a musician and creating these things and how it overwhelmingly it affects you emotionally, at the very end of it, you guys are so excited, number one, that you completed it.
Yeah, because it was hard to do.
It was hard to do,
Yeah.
but also that creative process came out, and all of a sudden you guys are so excited because all that creation and creative juices just melded together, and it finalized, and you guys are so excited at the end. It's really, really neat to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, because that was us like literally like holding out the lyrics live with the song basically.
Right.
And we were all just like coming from different angles, and we did it. I think it was like 2 takes or 3 takes put together, but it was just like, it was really hard. So once we did, we're like,
Yeah,
yes.
just as an example, trying to give to the people the understanding. Speaking of Crimson to Chrome, I had a conversation with you a long time ago when you first showed me that song. You would send me demos every once in a while. And it's safe to say you're extremely deep in many respects. You are very connected emotionally, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. Well, and I don't mean this in a bad way or anything. You don't have the accountant's brain,
No, definitely not.
right?
Always, yeah, overly
Right.
sensitive.
And so, okay, really sensitive. Which is tough being a Kapetan and being a sensitive guy, you know. So, but I asked you about the song because you could hear all these deep things that you're talking about in that song, Crimson to Chrome. But I said, so, hey man, what's it about? And then you tell me what it's about.
The main lyric, I mean,
Yeah.
it was, well, I mean, in a literal way, the lyric is like a bug getting squashed, because
It's a bug getting squashed.
pretty much. Yeah.
It's a man or a person walking down the street, and on the sidewalk is a red ant or whatever it may be. I don't know, what's the bug to you? What does it mean to you?
Well, the lyric is, we're either too old, too bold, or stupid to move. I guess we're caught on the wrong side of the shoe again, which is basically like, yeah, it's basically like saying like, it's a lot of the album has like these statements that sound kind of hopeless in a way, but are meant to have like that side of hope on it, on the other side of it. But
Real quick, say that lyric again, because I know it, but I want everybody to hear this. And I'd say the lyric again.
should I say it in a British accent?
Okay. No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I do it. I know that. We're either too old, too bold, or stupid to move. I guess we're caught on the wrong side of the shoe again.
Oh yeah, you guys do it in sort of a British accent, huh?
Well, I just naturally do that. I listen to a lot of British music growing up.
I didn't know that.
So I have a little bit of the... And also, British vocals, singing in a slight British accent sounds better.
Yes, I get
think.
it.
I think, you know?
Yeah, it's like
Don't-
hearing an Italian guy sing, right?
It's like, don't you forget... like, you don't want to hear that.
Oh, don't you forget about me?
Yeah, you don't want to
That's
forget.
a good one.
Yeah.
But what's neat about that is, where does that come from? How do you do that? Oh, you know what, man? We got to go to a break. So we're going to be right back. You're going to tell me where those things come from inside that deep brain of yours. This is the Mark Kapetan Show on KMJ. We'll be right back after this with Niko from Friko. This is KMJ at kmjnow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Mark Kapetan Show. We're on with Niko from Friko. My lovely Chicago nephew. Oh, that is so deep, dude. I love that song. That is For Ella from your album. Say it again, Niko.
Where we've been, where we go from here. We wanted to screw with people who have a long name.
All right, listen, Niko, that's another one. For Ella. You were standing, this is Niko Kapetan from the band Friko that's now out there touring. They have their new album out. You were standing at a graveside, right?
Yeah, in Michigan. Just like, out in like a town of like, just like a town where like probably there was like 10, 20 families that lived there, and it was like a church, and it was like the gravesite, and then it had like a father and daughter buried next to each other. It was really sad. And then it ended up coming from that after a while.
The name on the gravestone was Ella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you wrote a song for Ella, and that's it. And folks, you got to hear the rest of it, man. It just gives me chills every time I hear it. All right, we're talking about the recording process. Where does that come from? How does a person connect so deeply with their emotions that they can write these beautiful words? And this is just scratching the surface of the stuff that I've heard you do. Where does that come from? Do you have to put yourself in a mindset? Do you have to put yourself in a certain room? Are there superstitions you have?
It's definitely a certain mindset. Like, if for me, I have to be at a point where I'm not judging myself, but I'm also like really vulnerable. So it's kind of a tough place to get to. And it's kind of like you can't force it or get there consciously.
So you don't like actually say, okay, today I got to write songs.
Well, now I definitely do that more often, just because it's more of a career thing.
Has it interfered with, and I don't think so, because I just heard the new album. It's great. Do you struggle with the fact that the business side of it sort of may be interfering with the emotional side of it and your connection to these creative songs that you write?
I mean, the one thing about that is like it happened after it was all done and recorded. So it's like I can, us playing the songs every night, I still feel them deeply, but it's like I'm just ready to do new stuff. And like when we get home, we're going to do new stuff. I mean, that's, the whole point of it is keep making things,
But the music, that's interesting too. But the music business did hit you sort of upside the head at some point after the album was done.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we signed with ATO pretty much when the album was done, and doing the business stuff, if I can get days of break from that, I normally can get more creative, because it does, you can't think about both at the same time, and it's hard. It's definitely not good, easy thing to do.
Well, which was good, because when you were seeking out a manager, and you I think you even called me, and I tried, we know all these old rock and roll managers that would have just eviscerated you guys, but you found Dawn White, who her management company is good.
You and Me Incorporated.
That's right. You and Me Incorporated. I love it. And even the title of it, and I even mentioned it to her, that she was the perfect person for you. And, time will tell whether she remains the perfect person, but the perfect person for you, the fact that it was named You and Me, and she has this attitude that she understands you guys are very emotional, very creative guys, and the business end is things that you don't necessarily want to hear, but you have to pay attention to it yourself. But she's a great girl for you, huh? Yeah,
Dawn is amazing. Dawn's assistant Leona, I mean, they're the dream team. Yeah. It definitely helps a lot to have like a manager and booking agent that we like, and like people close to us on our team that we trust, because it's like you hear a lot of horror stories, and I don't feel like we're gonna run into that.
Good for you. Well, always keep keep one eye on the checkbook, as they say. So listen, I don't know if people say that or not. One of the emotional things that you had to go through, though, was there was always 3 of you in Friko, and that was you and Bailey, and your best friend, or one of your best friends from high school, Luke Stamos, right? Mm-hmm. Luke Stamos, is he related to John Stamos by any chance?
No, he's not.
Okay.
I wish.
Loved the guy. I loved him. He was a great guy. He was very quiet. He was very solemn and still on stage and stuff like that, and great bass player. And he decides he wants to be,
well, he's going into psychology now.
Oh,
yeah. What did you think?
No, wasn't he being a dentist or an eye doctor or something like that?
No, he's psychology.
Oh,
so at least it's adjacent to music.
I was about to say, that makes much more sense. So basically, years playing with you now has pushed him into psychology?
I might have driven him a little insane. But,
Was that hard, though?
It was definitely hard. It was very sad. But it wasn't like a quick cutoff. It was a conversation for a long time. And as it started becoming, more of a career thing, we just kept having the conversation. He was like, this isn't for me. And it's so much constant work and like really like exhausting and like oftentimes can be soul crushing sometimes. And it's just like, if that's not the only thing you want to do, then it's not for you.
But were you like, hey man, we're making this beautiful music together and we may be famous one of these days soon. Please stick with me.
Well, the thing with him is he doesn't care about that. Luke's a good dude, you know? And like, you know, we do it because we have to and because we love music, and there's something in us that makes us have to do it.
That's interesting that you say you have to. Yes, my nephew Niko from Friko, Friko. We'll be right back after this on the Mark Kapetan Show on KMJ. It's News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Check us out at KMJnow.com. Listen, Marcella's, look at this. Okay, I'm going to pop the music down. Marcella throws her arms up like it's, you know, the end of the world, because I have to say it's KMJ at KMJnow.com or wherever you stream, and your husband's now going to be mad at me for that too. Folks, you could check us out streaming at the Mark Kapetan Show on our YouTube channel, Mark Kapetan Show, on Facebook, and wherever you stream. You can also check out the podcasts for KMJ at KMJnow.com, wherever. And so if you want to watch us after this airs, or if you want to listen to us, go to KMJnow.com or go to your streaming service, basically. American-made concerts for great rock and roll entertainment. I told you I was going to give away tickets. Here it is. For the Zepp LA show on June 22nd at the Fulton 55. Be the fifth caller. We had a lot of calls last time. Be the fifth caller at 559-492-8603. That's 559-492-8603 for a pair of tickets to Zepp LA June 22nd at the Fulton 55. Also, we're going to be giving away a t-shirt with those pair of tickets. And it's going to be a Friko t-shirt, right, Niko? Niko said he was happy to donate a t-shirt. So be the fifth caller, 559-492-8603. We are back on with Niko Kapetan from Friko, recently signed to ATO Records. Go out and check out Friko on your streaming services, Friko. Check them out on YouTube and all their videos. You guys have done a bunch of videos live in the studio too, which is pretty bold and brave for you guys to do.
Yeah, we have done a few of those that run. I mean, you know, we our live shows like the core of what we do. So.
It's neat because I love sometimes the versions of the live shows or the live songs, you know, almost more than the recorded songs, just because there's just this energy that sometimes it's hard to capture in the studio. Yeah. Mom and Dad, my first cousins there in Chicago, Dimitri and Christina, how are they doing?
They're doing good. Yeah, I saw them and they came to our Portland show.
Yeah.
There
was always music in the family, right? Dad played guitar?
Yeah, I mean, because that side, the Kapetan side of the family, I mean, my dad would play guitar, and I picked that up before drums. I didn't pursue it at all until years later, but yeah, he was always playing. I mean, my dad and my mom both put me on to like, he would always play just like Led Zeppelin and like all the classic rock stuff.
and a lot of blues, a lot of Chicago blues those guys like too.
Like a lot, but then he started playing Elliott Smith for me, and like that Elliott Smith like really caught on. And I actually started liking some Elliott Smith when I was like 12. And then you developed this taste for this alternative rock, or indie rock as they call it now, and stuff like that. And you had your dad, your Uncle Nick, your Uncle John, everybody. You had the rock and roll side from us, but you sort of really liked that indie sound, basically, right? Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before, like, because you brought up Black Sabbath being like more like the harder rock edge.
That's
like
what my brother John listened to, yeah.
No, I mean, it is, but like those first couple records sound like indie records to me. Like in the way where like the sound quality is it's so good. Not that like big rock records don't sound good, but it's like, I don't know, it's so tight. You know, they used the jazz drums, like we said.
They were all jazz drummers back then, literally experimenting on this new genre of heavy metal rock and roll.
Yeah. It's all music.
It's all music. But believe me, I bet you Ozzy and his band finished one song and started crying also.
Dude, I bet. Changes,
I'm telling
maybe?
you.
Maybe
Yeah.
Changes?
You know what? You're right.
Incredible song.
Incredible song.
Yeah. Joni Mitchell could have written that song. Like, yeah.
You know, that's an see how he thinks. That's an interesting thought. That Joni Mitchell. Did you listen to a lot of songs, a lot of music? My nephew, your cousin Niko, in New York, Niko as we call him, he just peppers me all day long with anything from Wes Montgomery all the way to the Misfits or something like that. Is that how you are too?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people our age are like that because of the access to music. And like, I think it makes people, that's why, you know, there's no specifically like, you're like, oh, it's a punk guy, like she's a punk, like it's like you just kind of listen what you listen to, and that's kind of how you see the crossover between all these genres over time. And we can see that now, you know? And
what's interesting is I used to say that because of the music industry, everything got so segmented. Back when I was, young, you would see Santana playing with George Benson playing with, some rock and roll band, heavy metal band at the same festival on the same stage. And you just don't see that, at least for the past 20 or 30 years. But like you said, you young kids have access to all this kind of stuff. So you can make a connection between Black Sabbath and Joni Mitchell. That blows me away that you made that connection.
Well, that song, changes any like incredible. That could have been like Leonard Cohen or whoever it be, you know? Yeah,
that's great. Who was, though, your biggest influences back in the day? Who do you say, I guess I do sound a little bit like this or that?
I don't know if we sound like it anymore, but like the only band I listened to from like 8 years old to like 13 was the Beatles. So, that was kind of like, and I still love a lot of Beatles, but
it's evident in For-Ella because it's a George Martin orchestration, basically.
Melody, it taught me a lot of what I know about melody and harmony. But like more like modern, a lot of like early Modest Mouse. Was listening to a lot of who else was I'm trying to think.
Real quick while you're thinking there, you had a connection with Modest Mouse, right?
Yes, we got to meet Isaac Brock. Yeah, he's the main guy. It was a very fun, crazy, trippy meeting. Yeah, he showed us some like new songs he's working on, and they were really good. And I was like, "This is amazing."
How cool is that when you hear those kind of things? And you've done it with me, man, where you send me these things, and it's just ideas or something like that, and then all of a sudden you hear this finished product, and it's just so exciting to know that you were on the inside with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I cried at one of the songs because you dream about those kind of moments,
Really,
like one of your idols.
Yeah,
in a musical idol in a way.
Musical idols, I would say David Bowie, right, for you?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of Bowie in high school. Yeah. A lot of, this, before it was Friko, like the band before this was a lot of like much more glam rocky, and the performance was much more glam rocky.
Let me ask you, so the way you say that, does that embarrass you a bit?
No, it just was, musically glam rock had a lot to give, but like, I found out like a different way. I don't do the splits on stage anymore, but we still go crazy in a different way.
You're joking, right?
I did do the splits a couple times on that. Yeah. If I could do it again, I would do it.
Oh my God, dude. And speaking of that influence, and when you were recording those type of songs, you got to go listen to this Burnout Beautiful. You think you have this old school way. I know some of the new albums are EPs and things of that, and a lot of things is putting out singles these days, etc. But you had this sense of a full album from beginning to end, even including the order of the songs. I could sort of tell that from those Burnout Beautiful recordings that you did, right?
Yeah, with this record, it was very purposeful, even though they were written within like the span of a couple years, but like an album is like a full experience to me.
Right.
And like the record after this, I hope now that we know exactly who we are, we can make, a full perfect experience, whatever that means.
Well, no, listen, I get it. You're trying to attain, no, you don't try to attain perfection. You try to attain something that emotionally satisfies you and makes you feel like you have purpose, right?
Yeah, perfection in a different way.
Yeah. Listen, man. The fact that you're here in Fresno, you're staying at the house tonight, the fact that you came and did this radio show, I love it. I'm so proud of you from when you first came and started sending me those songs, and I just hope you make it to the very, very top.
Appreciate it, Uncle Mark. Thank you.
This is Niko Kapetan Niko from Friko, Friko. Go out and listen to their songs. Check them out. You're going to love it. It is some of the most creative stuff you've ever wanted to hear. You were going to give a big kiss to Yaya Bess, right?
Yes, love the Yaya.
My Thea Bess, yes, when you're back in Chicago. I love it. Thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Hi. Thanks, Mark.
We'll see you next week on the Mark Kapetan Show. Thanks to my producer, Marcella Solorio Taylor, for coming down at the last second and recording this. We'll see you next week on the Mark Kapetan Show. This is KMJ. Thanks to my wonderful, beautiful, handsome, talented nephew, Niko from Friko, for being on the show today. It was great having you on the show, buddy.
Thanks, Uncle Mark.
Thanks, Uncle Mark. I love you, man.
Love you too.
We'll check out the show. We'll see you on the Mark Kapetan Show. Check out Niko. Go out and buy all his albums. He's awesome. He's great. You're going to love it. It's the most creative stuff you've ever heard. It's awesome. See you.